Welcome to the Intuitively Wild podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Levine. Living intuitively wild is about coming back home to ourselves. Here we talk about how to live connected to ourselves, others, and nature, and make a commitment to radical authenticity, vulnerability, and acceptance. On this podcast, we delve into a wide range of topics that span the human experience. We peel back the layers and talk about the things that are often not talked about. This is a space for us all to walk and wander this path of life together. Let's dig into our roots and go deep. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Intuitively Wild podcast, and welcome to this month's ritual episode. Every month, the second solo of the month is a ritual based on some sort of earth-based holiday or event that is happening in the world right now. Whether that's a full moon, a new moon, a solstice, equinox, there are so many seasonal and cyclical events that we are experiencing, and it is so important for us to intentionally ritualize them, to intentionally respond to them and work with them, because they are impacting us whether we are aware of it or not. And if we bring our awareness to these events, then we can be really present with what is happening for us, how we're growing, how we're changing, how we're feeling, and work with it and learn how to work with ourselves instead of against ourselves. And awareness and presence and ritualism is all a part of that process. So this month we are focusing on the full moon on August 19th. Last month we did a ritual around the full moon as well. And if you haven't listened to that episode, you definitely should. Even though that full moon has passed, that energy is still impacting us. What is shared there is still so relevant and present and supportive. So I highly recommend going back and listening to that episode. And this just shows us how different each full moon energy is and how things are constantly shifting and evolving. I wanted to focus on the full moon again because during a full moon, the moon reaches its peak. Its energy intensifies, and that intensifies our energy and how we are impacted by the moon and our emotions. And we've been talking a lot about desires, especially if you're part of the paid tier on my Substack. Every Monday we do an intention setting ritual, and I've been talking a lot about gaining clarity on and pursuing our desires and understanding our blocks around our desires. And the full moon helps us gain clarity on our desires. It really helps that deep heart yearning within us come to the surface, even if we've tried or been forced to push it down. So full moons are so powerful. This one especially because it's during Leo season, and Leo is a very bright, loud, confident energy, and it's ruled by the sun. So that's just adding extra power and intensity to this full moon. And this full moon takes place on a Monday. And Monday is ruled by the moon. If you don't know, each day of the week is ruled by a different planet. I've written a blog post about this. And Monday is associated with the moon. So again, more moon energy, more power, more potency, and more for us to tap into. The moon also rules our emotions. And this full moon is activating our solar plexus, which is the center in human design that holds our emotions, which we're going to go into in detail soon. But that means you may be feeling extra sensitive, extra emotional, and it's really important to give yourself space and compassion and to slow down wherever and whenever you can. And so this ritual is the perfect tool to tune into to support yourself. And I really want you to use this podcast and this ritual as a time to tune in with yourself and your emotions and give yourself space to process whatever you're feeling. and to really sit with whatever comes up and heal whatever comes up, and to integrate all you are learning and growing through in this season and cycle and phase of your life. So here are some specifics about this full moon for our researchers and detail-oriented obsessed learners, of which I am a part of that crew. So this full moon, it lands in the sign of Aquarius and is on August 19th. It's a super moon and a blue moon. So I actually said in last month's ritual episode that full moon was a blue moon, but it technically wasn't, because people have misinterpreted a blue moon to mean the second full moon in a month, which is what last month's Capricorn full moon was. But that was a misinterpretation by an amateur astrologer years ago, and that ended up going viral and becoming what mainstream society knew a blue moon to be. So now that's what most people advertise blue moons as. But that's not the true original definition. Really, a blue moon is the third full moon in an astronomical season with 4 full moons. And why it's not the 4th full moon in that season is kind of unclear, but that's fine. The astronomical seasons are defined by the solstices and the equinoxes. And typically they have 3 months and 3 full moons. But sometimes there's a 4th full moon. And when there's a 4th full moon, it's the 3rd one of those 4 that is the blue moon. And that is what is happening in this Aquarius full moon. And the next blue moon won't happen until 2027. And this moon is a super moon. So that's when a full or new moon is the closest that it can be to the Earth in its orbit. So the super full moon appears bigger and brighter than ordinary full moons. So there's a lot going on with this moon. Each full and new moon has traditional names that were given to it when people used the full moons and the new moons to mark what was going on in the land at that time, whether it was agriculturally, what they were harvesting, or the seasons. There's different traditional names for each full moon. So for this specific full moon, we have the harvest moon, the herbal moon, the fruit moon, and then for the southern hemisphere, there's the snow moon, the storm moon, the hunger moon, several different names. I think it's important to know these traditional names because they help us honor the traditions and remember the root of where all of this came from, and also remind us that living in alignment with the moon and honoring it and celebrating it and engaging in these rituals is not a woo-woo newfound thing. It goes back years and years and years to the beginning of time. And we've moved away from that. And part of these rituals is coming back to that. Part of engaging in the lifestyle of intuitively wild is coming back to those age-old traditions and living back in connection with the seasons and nature, and the cycles of the full moon is a core component and foundational piece of all of that. And so even if you don't know anything going on with the moon, hearing the name Harvest Moon immediately gives you some insight into what is going on at this time, or the energy that is going on at this time. Because Harvest Moon, just to use that as an example, even if you don't farm or you're not using it agriculturally, it's about new things growing and blossoming and things coming to life and harvesting what is happening for us in our lives and what we've been watering and nourishing and growing. So that's why I think it can be really helpful and insightful to know the traditional names. Another really supportive way to orient ourselves around this new moon is by knowing the human design gates present during this time. And if that doesn't really make sense to you, it's just about knowing the energy present during this time, the energy available, the energy we are being impacted by. And I have gone into more detail about what this means, what the human design gates are, how they shift and change throughout the months, and why we are talking about it right now. in previous episodes. So go back to some of the other ritual episodes and there'll be more info on that for you. But don't let any of the lingo or names of the gates confuse you. Just tune into the energy and the details I'm talking about. And if you're confused and want more info on all of this, please don't hesitate to reach out and we can talk about it. So let's talk about the 2 gates or energies active during this full moon. The first we are going to talk about is gate 49. And gate 49 is called revolution. It lives in the solar plexus, which, like I mentioned before, is the chakra associated with emotions. And it's a projected channel, which I will go into. So the name revolution kind of gives you some info about what it means. This gate is about leading revolutions by living your principles. It's about transformation. It's about being a leader. It's about being revolutionary. And it doesn't have to mean that you literally start a revolution, but it's about taking the lead and having a strong sense of who you are and what you stand for and what your values are and what you want, and holding that ground for yourself, holding your boundaries, and being a leader in your relationships, impacting the people around you by the way you are living, by being so embodied and aligned with your values and your truth. The thing is, since it's a projected channel, it needs to be invited in. So it's about knowing the right timing of when to take action. So not asserting yourself when you don't feel welcomed or wanted or recognized. It's really about being recognized for the gifts you are bringing and then sharing them. This ensures that you are impacting the right people at the right time and impacting them with an open mind and an open heart, and so that they're ready to receive it and you're ready to give it, and you're giving it in the right energy, in the right way for those specific people. Also, since this gate lives in our solar plexus, lives in our emotion center, we have to make sure that we are at a grounded place and give ourselves time to process our emotions and share from a processed place. The emotional center needs to ride its waves of emotions. So there's not always clarity in the now around how to share or what to share or who to share with. So we really want to wait for the right timing. You need to wait to ride your emotions and process anything that might be coming up versus acting emotionally from an unprocessed space. And this speaks to a theme that we've been discussing on podcasts and that I've talked a lot about with clients, this responding versus reacting. This gate is really asking us to handle our emotions with maturity and awareness, to be compassionate with ourselves, to give ourselves space to feel our emotions, and then deciding how we want to respond from there. And we need to make sure that we are using this transformative energy in alignment with intention and awareness of our impact, because otherwise we can get too caught up in the right and wrong way to do things and force our way onto others. This energy out of alignment can be stubborn or perfectionistic or judgmental or all or nothing, and can call people out. So you want to be aware of what's coming up for you. As you're feeling some emotions surface, how are you feeling pulled to respond? Are you able to take a step back and give yourself time to process? Are you feeling really active and reactive? How can you process and integrate and then move forward? This gate for some people might also bring up this pressure to act and do the thing, but not knowing what that thing is or how to act or when to act. You may be feeling a lot of sensitivity to others' needs and your own needs and their emotions and your emotions, and feeling pressure to act and help and do, but not knowing how to do that or not having the energy to support and act in that way. So you want to make sure you're waiting for the energy to come naturally, for the clarity to come naturally, for the recognition to come naturally, and just trusting the timing. I honestly think that having this gate present during this full moon is about feeling our emotions It's about being present with what is coming up for us and what that is moving us towards, whether that's an action that we feel like we need to take, or a conversation we feel like we need to have, or something we feel like we need to start, or just overall pressure and the need to act. Just observing, just having awareness around it, and then letting ourselves really process that and feel into that, and not act until maybe a day or two later when we've really reflected and felt it all. And this is going to be even more important when we bring the next gate into focus, which is gate 30. Gate 30 is called the gate of feelings. So there you go. And similarly, this gate is in the solar plexus, so in our emotional center, and it is part of a projected channel. So again, that theme of needing to be invited in and recognized. And this gate is about wanting to feel the intensity of emotions. It's all about feelings and desire and wanting to feel all emotions, embracing and understanding all emotions, and embracing and understanding the importance of all emotions. And this is a beautiful thing and something that, we promote and discuss on this podcast. But out of alignment, this can push you to seek extremes and unnecessary experiences in order to feel all the emotions and to feel deeply. Or on the other hand, it can lead you to feeling really overwhelmed and shutting down all emotions and feeling numb and like this loss of faith and hope for life. So this energy is asking us to, again, just be present with what emotions are coming up for us, and to know that it's safe to feel all our emotions to whatever extreme that they are, and to know that they all come and go and we will experience all of them. We don't have to force that experience. Life will hand us those experiences and opportunities naturally. And to also recognize that we are not our feelings. We can't identify with our feelings or the intensity and depth of our feelings. And to know when to sit with them and when to let them go, and when to process them and when to integrate them, and when they're not supportive for us. So for this gate, it can be important with this energy at this time to have your toolkit around you that allows you to create a sense of safety within yourself to explore your emotions, to explore your desires, and to sit with all of it, and to not act before you've processed, and to act with intention. Because again, this gate might push you to pursue new opportunities or experiences and take action to feel those emotions and to get to fulfill those desires and those wants before you've processed it, before you've actually decided if that is what you want and what you need right now. So overall theme, trust your timing, wait to process your emotions, know that you will know when the time is right, even if you feel pressure to act right now. Feeling the emotions first and giving yourself that space is the most important thing. And in the days following the full moon, we still are moving into different solar plexus gates. So our emotional center is really just getting hit, and we just need to be able to sit with, feel, process, integrate, and then move forward with our emotions. So, tools. How do we do that? How do we sit with it? How do we create that sense of safety and awareness and compassion? Let's get into more about the ritual. So while I'm setting up for my ritual through the altar space, I'm also setting the mood. So maybe I'm playing some music, and that's also being set through the candle I'm going to choose and the incense and all we're going to talk about in the altar suggestions. But we are setting the mood, setting the scene, setting the energy, the foundation for this ritual. And for me, transitioning into the ritual is often initiated by the lighting of my candle and my incense. And that signifies the energy shift between whatever I was doing before and the ritual. The transitions are very important and bring us into this present moment. So, as I've said before, setting up your ritual is a big part of the ritual. So, create your altar of some sort, and that can literally just be your journal. It can just be your yoga mat. It can just be a rock from outside. Have some sort of grounding center for your ritual. But having some sort of altar is so grounding, and it really draws you back into the present moment, draws the energy of the full moon into your ritual, and helps you create this sacred space and also sacred time for yourself. So it's actually quite easy to create a simple altar. A foundational tip to fall back on is always having something of the 5 elements there. And keep in mind that this is Leo season, so we are in fire energy, but it's an Aquarius full moon, which is water. So here are my altar suggestions for this full moon. I've started translating the space element as creating the space. So we want to have something in our room to denote the altar, whether that's an actual item you've bought as an altar, whether that's a tablecloth or just a corner of the room that you've denoted for this altar. It doesn't matter. Find what feels good for you and what works for your space, but that is what we are establishing the altar on. That is the ether. And then for the fire element, we have a candle. And this can be really any scent that you feel drawn to. The best part about Leo season is it's all about being unapologetically yourself and just owning who you are and what you like. So take that into everything that you do in this ritual and in this season, and also in your life in general, but you know what I mean. So your candle. You can also add to your altar anything to channel the confident, creative, courageous energy of Leo. So that could be a piece of art you made or a journal or something that represents the energy you want to channel more, anything that makes you feel confident and anything that provides the energy that you want to expand upon. Okay, next, I always burn sage for the air element. And sage is known for returning you back to your intuition. It helps bring you back to your center, especially when you need to make a decision, and it helps you align with a clear-headed and calm-bodied path to clarity, which I think it's clear we all might need during this full moon. And this brings us to our earth element, which I'm going to plug the Intuitively Wild full moon tea from our Rooted Rituals range. And sage is actually one of the herbs found in that tea. And we'll go more into that tea soon when we talk about the herbal companion suggestions for this ritual. But tea is in a really gorgeous container. So to put that container into your altar and infuse the tea itself with the full moon energy, and then let the energy of the plants in the tea seep into your altar and your intentions and your space and your ritual. They all work so well together to support each other. And then you can brew your tea and take that energy into your body. And then for our last element, for the water element, we have crystal water. And you create crystal water by placing clean crystals, one or however many you want, ideally that either you feel really connected to right now or represent the energy of the season or that you're trying to embody. You place them in water and leave them out under the moon. And it actually would be really impactful to leave it out under the Leo sun and the Aquarius full moon, so for a whole day. And you can either do this before your ritual and then have it with you during your ritual, or after your ritual. But either way, you are having this crystal water also on your altar during your ritual. So you are infusing it not only with the energy of the sun and the moon, but your intentions and your desires and everything you are creating throughout this ritual. And then you can leave the crystals in there or you take them out, but you drink the water throughout the month or all in one sitting. It doesn't really matter, but they're infused with your energy, with your intentions. And it also helps cool you down during this Leo season and connects you to that Aquarius water energy. Next, we have our yoga therapy tools. These are going to be extra important whenever we're feeling overwhelmed by emotions or confused by our emotions or feeling that pressure to react versus respond. The first tool I want to discuss is lion's breath. And I really wanted to include this one because it is associated with the lion, which so is Leo. And it's something really quick, easy, and effective. You can do it at any time, anywhere. You might want a little bit of privacy, but you can just go to the bathroom and utilize this breathwork practice, and it'll immediately cool you down. It will immediately dispel some energy and heat, and it's also playful and helps you channel that courageous and confident leader energy. So how you do lion's breath is you close your eyes and you start to take a deep breath in through your nose. And then you exhale out your mouth with a big ah noise while sticking your tongue out and opening your eyes very wide. So it can look a little silly, it might be a little embarrassing, but I promise it helps. It also helps you release any tension in your face, unclench your jaw, and I recommend doing that at least twice. You can do it as many times as you want, but at least twice. And really focusing on a deep inhale and then exhaling for as long as you can. Our next yoga therapy tool is called Meeting the Mood. And this was created specifically for supporting mental health. So as you begin this practice, you want to assess how you are feeling emotionally or in your energy in this moment. And you want to categorize if you're feeling 1, high on life, excited, energized, motivated, or if you're feeling 2, low, depleted, sad, or overwhelmed. And if you said 1, you want to do this sequence in the order that I'm going to share it. But if you're feeling more aligned with number 2, then you want to start with step number 2 first, and then end with step number 1. And another reason why I love this practice is because it forces you to assess how you're feeling and what you are needing in this moment. So, step 1. Start standing in mountain pose with your feet rooted on the ground and your hands by your side. And you're going to start to move your body in a twist position. So one shoulder coming to the front and the other to the back, and then vice versa. Just kind of moving your upper body front and back, but letting it flow. And let your arms move freely with this movement so that your left arm hits your front body as your left shoulder moves forward, and your right arm hits your back body as your right shoulder moves backward, and vice versa. And you're going to repeat this for a couple of rounds at whatever pace feels good for you. And when you're done, slowly come to stillness and take a moment and feel any sensations that are happening in your body with your eyes closed. Just let yourself pause. And then when you're ready, you're going to move to step 2 and lift your arms over your head on an inhale. And as you exhale, come to a forward fold, folding your upper body over your lower body as your hands reach towards the ground. Let this be easeful and restorative, and feel free to do this seated as well. And you want to hold the forward fold for at least 5 breaths, and then see how you feel. And you can repeat that as often as you want. You can repeat the forward fold practice as often as you want. You can go back and forth between the two as often as you want. Really see how it's feeling in your body. Try not to overthink it. Just move. Just flow with it. And these are both examples of practices that I have in Ritualism, our foundational tool to living intuitively wild, your personalized guidebook to intentional living based on your human design. And these won't be in everyone's guidebook because they're personalized, but they are helpful for everyone, especially during a heightened emotional time. Okay, and now let's get into the herbal companions. So the 2 I have picked for this full moon are cardamom and schizandra. So cardamom promotes confidence, courage, and consistent energy. It's perfect for this Leo energy. It promotes the positives, but it also cools you down and cools down the fiery energy as well. And then we have Shazandra. And Shazandra's magic is the art of surrender. She helps you let go and move through any grief, anxiety, or depletion that comes with this process of moving through emotions. She's also an adaptogen and will know how to provide your body with exactly what it needs. And if you're thinking it's too hot for tea, tea actually helps cool you down. In India, they drink hot tea even when it is so hot outside because it cools you down. But you can also make this as a normal tea and then leave it in the fridge overnight, letting the herbs infuse in the water even more, and then drink it the next day. So it's kind of like an iced tea. You can source these herbs on your own and concoct this tea for yourself. Or if you want a pre-crafted full moon remedy that consists of these herbs, plus sage, plus several more to enhance your ritual, check out the full moon tea available at our online apothecary. I created the full moon tea to help you create an intentional ritual around the full moon energy. And it supports you in the cycle of releasing and realigning by helping you check in on your intentions and reflect on your growth, bring to your awareness what needs to be released, create and sustain a grounded yet heightened energy, embody self-love, confidence, and gratitude, support yourself with full body nourishment, and strengthen the voice of your intuition. This full moon tea is honestly one of my favorite products that we offer, both because I'm obsessed with the taste and also because you can feel the impact of it, both physically and energetically. So that will all be linked below, of course. And now let's move into the journal prompts. So the first set revolve around our emotions. The first one is, how am I feeling? How do I know I am feeling that way? Where do I feel these sensations in my body? How can I support my emotional world right now? And then the next set of questions, what are my values? What are my desires? Do my actions align with my values and desires? Where do these values and desires come from? How does it feel to embody these values and desires? It can actually be so hard and so scary to admit our desires to ourselves. And the ability to do so, to have the awareness and safety around admitting our desires, comes from feeling safe within our emotions and having clarity around our values. So the emotions practice, the values practice, that all leads to the desire practice, and that allows us to then act on and manifest and embody our desires. If you're looking for support with any of this, with creating your values, with working through your emotions, with gaining clarity on your desires, and understanding what may be in the way of taking action on or embodying these, that is a core piece of the work I move through with my mentorship clients. So if you are interested in that, please let me know. And now we're still on the journaling practice, but we're moving a little bit more into the intentions. So I want you to write on the top of a page, reflection. And think, 6 months ago in January, in Aquarius season, on the Leo full moon, which was January 25th, what was happening? What were you moving through? What themes were present? What growth has happened since then? How do you feel about that time in your life? Just reflect. And then after that, either on the top of the next page or below that, write dreams. In 6 months, on the Leo new moon next January, what do you want to be blooming? What seeds do you want to plant now to water and devote yourself to? What do you want? What are your desires? What do you want your life to look like? Just let yourself dream. Dream big, dream fully. Don't edit yourself. Don't let your thoughts and rational mind and criticism get in the way. Just dream. And we're going to use those reflections and those dreams to form our intentions. So based on those dreams, what do you realize you really want, that you want to intentionally put your energy towards, at least for the next 2 weeks until the next new moon? So based on your reflections and dreams, what can you do? What do you want to focus on right now? What can you do to bring those dreams into your reality? What energy, what action, what word will remind you of your dreams and align you with the energy of it in the present moment and help spur you into aligned and embodied action? So first, maybe hone in on the dream that you want to focus on and how that feels when you think about it. And then from there, try to, in one sentence, write out that dream in the present tense as if it is happening right now. And you want to create it in the present tense so that when you say it, when you focus on it, when you see it, you can feel it as if it is happening in the present moment. And it'll immediately draw you back into that energy, into that intention. And from there, what I love doing with my intention, since I am an action-oriented Virgo, is I like to write out at least 3 action steps that I can focus on for the next 2 weeks to help me focus on this intention. And then I like to choose one word that embodies this intention and write it down somewhere for me to come back to and look at every day. And for bigger intentions, especially if I'm doing this on New Year's Eve or a solstice or an equinox, or just creating a new intention that I really want to devote myself to, I will write this card down on a note card and make a little mini vision board, or even a full vision board for it. And that really helps me hone in on that intention. But either way, I write it down somewhere where I can look at every day with my action steps underneath it to remind myself of this intention and my devotion to it. So for example, let's say my intention is I'm confident in my ability to create my dream life right now. And I'm choosing my word to be confident. And then underneath it, I will write my action steps. Like, I'm going to show my face on Instagram once a week with confidence. And I'm going to talk about my business to people I meet with confidence. And you can get as specific and detailed as possible. Like every day, twice a day, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z at this time. You're going to put it in your schedule, in your calendar, set an alarm, set a reminder, and you're going to do it. And come back to this ritual, maybe look at your altar, come back to that energy and that intention, and remind yourself of your desires and your goals and your dreams. This full moon is also a really powerful time to come together in community, whether you are doing this ritual with someone else or with a whole other group, or just afterwards sharing your experience, sharing your intentions, having an accountability buddy to hold you accountable to your intentional actions around your intentions. Sharing this energy with someone else. No matter what, I really encourage you to share with at least one other person a desire you've realized you have that you want to act on. And of course, there are some desires, especially if you're just getting used to admitting your desires to yourself, that you want to keep close to heart, that you don't feel comfortable sharing yet. And that is also so important and a special sacred space to be in. So honor that for yourself. But if there is one desire that you're ready to announce to the world and to share and pour energy into through your words, I encourage you to share that with someone who you feel safe with, who you feel comfortable with, who you feel will respect you and your desires. And you can say to them either like, I want accountability, following through on this desire, or I just want to share this with you. I just want you to be a witness to it. I might even change my mind, and I don't want you to hold me accountable to that if I do change my mind. But it's important for us to express ourselves and our desires freely to others and to own our desires, and that we have desires, especially under this full moon, this Leo energy. So really the theme of this time is to feel our emotions, to process our emotions, and then respond versus react in an intentional way with the people and the places and the situations that we feel recognized and wanted in, and to own our desires with confidence and clarity and groundedness. At the end of every ritual, I bring my altar outside if possible, and I leave it out under the full moon. I honestly like to leave it out for the full day because especially in this Leo energy, like to get the sun and the moon energy onto it. And I place my altar outside, I place a hand on my heart, and I repeat my intention to myself 3 times, and then I say thank you 3 times. And then I say this ritual is now complete, and I blow out my candle. And that signifies the end of the ritual. And I want to highlight that this ritual can be done anytime in the few days surrounding the full moon. It can be done on that day or that night, or it can be done a day or two before, a day or two after. You'll still be feeling that in full moon energy, and the moon is full for a little more than a day. So we're not being perfectionistic about it or overthinking it, just whatever feels right, whatever flows and fits into our schedule. And also do this in whatever capacity feels good for you. Of course, everything I'm giving you is all needed to be run by your intuition. How does it feel? How does this work for you? Customize it to exactly what you need in this moment for this specific full moon. But I hope that this episode, this ritual, provides you with a sense of support, a sense of relief, a sense of grounding, and that as you engage in this ritual, you feel your desires orbiting around you. You feel their presence. You feel the hope and the excitement and the peace that comes with embodying who you truly are and your purpose and honoring your authentic desires. And also honoring your emotions and being really soft and gentle with yourself. And knowing that being soft is one of the strongest qualities you can have. I would love to hear how this goes for you, how this feels for you, anything that comes up regarding this podcast or as you're engaging in the ritual, and anything you would want to hear more of, less of, anything at all you would want to be talked about or focused on for our ritual next month. And I will see you all next time for more magic. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I hope it helped deepen your connection to yourself, sparked some insights, and inspired you to live intuitively wild. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would share it with others and leave a rating and review. And please reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. I will see you next time for more magic.